Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. Is the law, or is it just something people just fabricate to complain about? I did a little clip recently about, that the law is biased, and it is. It's unfairly tainted toward the rich and the powerful. And this whole thing with this new Trump verdict shows some of it. And all that man does is complain about, how unfairly and unjust but the bottom line is the law the law? Do you agree with that? Do you abide by the law or don't you abide by the law? Does it have some meaning? Does it have some relevance? Obviously, to Mr. Trump, it has no meaning, it has no relevance. Everything is a con, everything is a frame up, everything is a conspiracy. You got to be kidding me, right? But that's the way it is. And some of his followers believe it. They just believe that whatever he does is God's gift to the world, and nothing can be done to touch the man for whatever reason. And it certainly escapes me. But it brings to light one major issue. Is the law the law? Do you follow it or not? It's that simple. Is the law fair? No. Is it just? No. Is it the law? Yes. It's just the law. You follow it. There are many things that are not moral in the law. There are many things that are not just in the law. There are many things that are biased, as I've mentioned before, in the law. But as a society, do you abide by the law? You may not agree with it, especially if you're going along and you're conniving to get away with whatever fraud or misrepresentation you want to do, and it catches up to you, and then, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Everybody's at fault but me, the criminal, the person that perpetrated the crime. It's not unusual, except that this guy has got a mouthpiece. I saw this one thing on CNN, and, all he did was complain about, and he misstated all the facts. There's rules in law. There's rules in court. There are procedures you follow. And if you don't follow them, you get busted. You pay a penalty. In this case, he paid a serious penalty. And it's really he's going to feel the pinch on this one. And I have no sympathy for the man. I don't like the man. I think he's a fraudster. I think he's conning people. I think he's unpatriotic. He mouths against military and doesn't give a hoot about anything. And yet people follow him, as if he's God's gift to the world. And I guess to them he is. But certainly not to me. But that doesn't mean I break the law, because he broke the law. He was found guilty. Well, he was adjudicated, because it's a civil case, you don't say it in the same terms as you do as a criminal case. But it's still a major penalty. He's found that he had violated the law, and he was held accountable. And that's just the way it is. And if you do this, if you play in the big boy's yard, you play by the big boy's rules. If you don't like the rules, don't play by them. He tried to get around it. He did for years, and, And I don't know about the sons. I don't know about that. But again, and I get carried away a little bit on this Trump thing, because it's so basic. It's basic to the issues I'm talking about. Do you believe in the law or don't you believe in the law? Is the law important to you or not? Most of these judiciary people are reasonable, decent people. There are some that are not so decent and corrupted and all that stuff. I mean, there's thousands of these people out there, and it's a big, wild, wonderful world. But if we're going to be law abiding citizens, it's not just the fact that you don't get caught. You know, it's years ago, there's stories about people, well, I wouldn't say years ago, but it's always the case. If you get caught, you get punished. Why? For being caught. When people get caught, what do? They apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. I broke the law. My gosh. No, they're apologizing because they got caught, not because they broke the law. They knew, they were well informed before they did whatever criminal act. And now it's, oh, wow. And I guess that's one of the attractions of Trump, is that he doesn't say, oh, I'm sorry I broke the law, because he never breaks the law. So he's a flip side of that whole scenario. But most people do. The courts want them to be apologetic, to show some remorse. Why? Because it's a human quality. The laws are human. They're not, outside of the humanity. They reflect humanity. They reflect the society in which we live. And this society particularly is going through a heck of a lot of change, and the law shows that. The way people are adjudicated. But one thing that doesn't change is the fact that we have to obey the law, whether it's election law, whether it's fraud, whether it's tax code, whatever it is, you need to obey the law. Now, some laws really suck. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And some laws are just unfair. And you could fight that. You could work against that. But it's difficult. There's no easy way around that. How do you get legislatures in there that are fair, are going to make laws that are fair to everybody? Everybody. Whether it's the border, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's parking regulations, whatever the heck it is, there's going to be people who are being impacted by that law. Some positively, some negatively. And not everybody can just easily abide by the law. People are forced to do terrible things in times of stress. Women go to prostitution because they have to pay their bills. People go to sell drugs because they in their minds think it's, a way to get money so that they can get the things they need. Put food on the table sometimes. Not everybody thinks, well, I got to get a job. Many people can't get a job. Many people don't want to get a job. They think criminally about everything. There are people that are just plain old criminals. And those are not the people I'm talking about. Those people just break the law because that's their livelihood. They break the law. They're criminals, period. Done deal. And what are you going to do about that? You can't do anything about that. You prosecute. You find them and prosecute them. Most crimes are not prosecuted. Most crimes go by the boards. It was a fear of accountability that's a deterrent. But it's also a social need, a social requirement that the citizenry believe in the law. You hear it all the time, nobody's above the law. Nobody's above the law. Well, of course, that's the idea, that's the premise, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. And you work towards that. But are people above the law? Just look around you. You see it all the time. And especially in this world, we see it constantly. And now people who are finally being held accountable for crimes that they committed, they'll spend anything to satisfy their particular need. You can't believe half the things people say, especially in the public domain. And there's, That's just the sad part about it. And was that the case always? Well, pretty much, I guess. More so nowadays because of the instant communication. But it was always people were cutting other people down and trying to even the founding fathers. There was war of words. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and all these guys. They had their Hamilton. They had their peeves at one another. These weren't all good fellow compatriots. There was a lot of angst, and they put out newspaper articles and other things to demean and vilify their opponents. It happens. It's just the way it is. But the bottom line is, in the American Revolution, they decided to break the law. They did. They broke the law. And it wasn't their law. They made new laws, but if we lost the war, they would have been hung by the Brits. But that was a chance they took. There are choices in life. But in the mainstay, it's not an American Revolution type of situation in our everyday lives. We have to decide what is right, what is righteous, and uphold the law. Whether it's election law, whether it's fraud law, whether it's tax law, whatever it is, we need to uphold the law. And do we break the law sometimes ourselves? Do we speed? Do we maybe fudge a tax form or two? I guess so. Well, I know I speed. And, it's just the way it goes. I mean, do I think that people are naive enough to go around and saying, yeah, I broke the law? No, they're not going to do that. But if they get caught, they have to pay the penalty. But it's a matter of your belief in the law, belief in the sanctity of it to some degree, and a major degree, really. But it's these foundational issues are being hammered, chiseled at, destroyed by rhetoric, not by action. Right now it's by rhetoric, just by words of defiance, words of, against judges, against people, the vilifying the people. Some of these politicians and lawyers and attorneys general have to go into hiding there under protection because of people's viciousness. These good, upstanding people are vicious. They'll take your heart out. Obey the law. It's important. Think about it. Think about the law, especially in today's world, because it surrounds us now. It's on every news, everything, and do they report it well? I would venture to say probably not. But it's reported. Put your own life's experience into it. Think about it. But we need to uphold the law. People have to be held accountable to some degree. Otherwise, it's going to be exactly what Trump wants, and that's chaos. He said it. It's not something I said or thought of or whatever. He said it. That's what he wants. Thanks for listening. But the law is important. Understanding respect for the judiciary, respect for the people who enforce the law, the police, all the agencies that are surround us, the FBI, all these people. Respect. Give it to them. They deserve it. Don't listen to this other nonsense. Respect the law. You don't have to go around in awe and bow down before the judiciary, but respect it. It keeps the fabric of our society safe. Protect and serve. That's what it's all about. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, subscribe. If you think it has some value to someone, send it on. And comment. Always comment. It's appreciated more than you know. Thanks again. Have a good day. Talk to you again. Bye for now.